Hello and welcome to the Managing Uncertainty podcast. This is Bryan Strawser, Principal and Chief Executive here at Bryghtpath. And in episode 161, I want to talk about just one simple skill that I think it's important for business continuity, crisis management, and crisis communication leaders to master. And I think this is a skill that no matter what level you are, whether you're starting it right now, first job out of college as an individual contributor, or you are a highly experienced director, vice president, chief resilience officer, chief communications officer. And that skill is this: be candid. Be candid. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and be an ass in the pursuit of being candid and being direct. I think it was Taylor Swift in her masterpiece of a song, All Too Well, where she talks about so casually cruel in the name of being honest. We're not aiming for that. But your leaders, your board, your executives, your stakeholders in your program, your team of peers and stakeholders, and the team, if you're fortunate enough to have a team, the team who works for you, they're looking for your candor as a leader. They're looking for you to be honest. And I think it's one thing to think about this from a leadership perspective, about the team of folks who have put their trust in you as their leader, and they expect you to be honest with them. But I think it's even more important in these resiliency fields that we're in of crisis management, business continuity, and crisis communications, that our leaders, our executives, the board, your key stakeholders and partners in the organization, they look for you to be candid. They look for you to share your expertise in these fields and to share it honestly. I remember a situation in my when I was inside of an organization, a Fortune 30 company. I remember a situation where I had argued for a particular bit of work to be done. Like many large capital requests, things have to get prioritized. This was a key technology resiliency issue. It was deprioritized in favor of doing some other things that made money. And I can't fault the business decision, right? All the logic and all the explanation made perfect sense. Not even a month after, not getting our funding, we had a serious technology issue where we could have had a catastrophic failure of systems. And at the heart of the issue here is our lack of visibility into what had happened and our lack of resiliency in this particular situation, directly related to the fact that we didn't get the funding. Now, even if we got the funding, the solution wouldn't have been in place yet, but we would have at least, had a path that we were on. This happened over a weekend, and by Monday morning, I was involved in a conversation with some of my partners in the organization and the chief information officer and the general counsel. And the general counsel asked a very clear, blunt question, which was, Bryan, does this not relate to the funding that you tried to obtain a month ago? And the fact that was deprioritized, wouldn't that have kind of changed the calculus here? And, obviously, like any large organization, there were a lot of political pressures. There were a lot of political angles to take here. And my boss and I simply chose to be candid about it. And the candidness was, yes, it directly relates to this issue. And that's why we argued for it, and we didn't get it. And now we're seeing exactly almost the worst case scenario being played out because we've chosen not to address this known risk. So no matter the situation that you're in, be candid about the issues you're faced with. I think it's important to think about this in terms of, there's a right and a wrong way to communicate things using candor. And it's important to tell the whole story, to build the narrative, to talk about the issues in a way that give you the best opportunity for success as you present and have these conversations. But at the end of the day, your company is looking to you to lead in business continuity, crisis management, and crisis communications. Whatever your your practice domain is that you're operating in, whatever your base of expertise is, you're there because your company and your leaders believe in your skills as a leader and your subject matter expertise. Don't ever be afraid to be candid and to share your honest advice. That's why you were there. That is what your leaders are looking for. That's it for this edition of the Managing Uncertainty podcast. We'll be back next week with another new episode. Be well.